Hi, my name's Jeremy. I run a YouTube channel called The Ethanol Review out of my house. We're filming here at my house in this beautiful library that took centuries to build with all the books. You see there's a book on farts up there. I don't know if that catches in the camera angle, but it's a very important fart encyclopedia. But yeah, I film here to talk about alcohol. All kinds of alcohol. Beer, wine, liquor, cocktails, and all of the tiny movements in between. I recently realized that I was giving honey to all of the brands that I've talked about. Perhaps in the back of my tiny little lizard brain, I was hoping that these brands would see the videos and see all the honey I was pouring on them and give me a shout out so I could grow this dumb fucking YouTube channel. But that's not actually how it works. They probably wait for you to get much, much bigger, and then they're like, oh shit, let me get a little slice of that. So understanding that now, I realize that there's no reason to give any undeserved love to any brand of alcohol or any cocktail. Really, it should just be my personal, objective, truthful viewpoint of it. And so I'm going to start that today. I'm going to give you a real version of my take on these brands of alcohol. And today we're going to talk about Gosling. Specifically, their top shelf brand, the Family Reserve Old Rum. Assuming you believe the lore of the brand, it all starts in the 1800s. I think 1806 is what they say on the internet. This is all fact, by the way. William Gosling traveled from England as a wine and spirit merchant. He loaded up a ship full of merchandise, full of presumably alcohol, to go to North America and to sell his wares there. He had some calamitous, inclement weather and had to port at Bermuda. He presumably went to Bermuda, walked around, saw that there was a open space for his type of business, and decided to set up shop there. Him and his brother Ambrose, maybe a couple decades later, according to the story, set up a storefront on Hamilton Street. Again, this is all story. I'm not really sure what's true or not, but this is what the internet says. So they open up a storefront, and it still exists to this day. So there's definitely some fact there. They didn't actually start bottling rums until a good bit later. I believe that the first actual rum they sold under their own name was in the 1860s, so many decades later. And they weren't actually making it themselves. They were sourcing it from nearby islands, specifically Trinidad, Jamaica, and Barbados. So this is a blended outsourced rum they'd bring into Bermuda, and in the beginning, according to story, they would age it in these barrels and basically fill growlers of liquor, right? So you would come in with an empty bottle, go up to their barrel, and fill up your bottle full of their rum, right? That's what they said originally happened, and maybe it did. It's a pretty cool story. It wasn't until much later, in the, I believe, 1950 area, that they started bottling it themselves. Still not distilling it themselves, but blending, aging, and bottling themselves in Bermuda. Right now, Gosling's Black Seal, which is as black rum gets, I would argue it's the biggest black rum brand in the world. And to go on a brief tangent, black rum. So what does that really mean? First of all, let me dispel some mythology. Rum is not classified or qualified by its color by anyone who understands this business. Color is not a good way to talk about rum because legally, rum can be any fucking color it wants. It just has to be a sugarcane distillate or a sugarcane byproduct distillate, namely molasses, which is what most rum is made of. So color doesn't really matter. That being said, there's always a fucking caveat here. Black rum is arguably, though not legally, the only style of rum that is classified by color. And the reason is black rum, generally, though not legally, adds molasses back after the distillation, right? So it gives it a darker color and a fuller body. So black rum, even though it's not actually black, usually it's like a dark red, deep red, is an example of when you'd classify rum by color. But really what you want to look for is where it's made, what it's made of, how it's aged, and how long it's aged. But enough of that. Let's talk about this specific brand. So this is Gosling's premium offering, the Family Reserve Old Rum. It doesn't have an age statement. That doesn't mean it's bad or good. Actually, I think there's some honesty to not having an age statement, because a lot of brands hide behind having a year printed on it. So you can have a 20-year-old brand of blank that actually is not very good. You could have a 5-year brand of blank and it could be delicious. So don't let aging deceive you. I remember going to this package store in college where I would buy these old, usually corked wines. And I talked to the owner there and asked him about, well, this is old wine, like what do you think about it? And he said, if the wine was shitty when it was young, it'll be just as shitty, if not worse, when it's old. So age isn't always a pertinent factor when you're judging any brand. Again though, there's no age statement on here. It could be anywhere from 0 to 25 years, who fucking knows? I've heard some estimates, but I really don't know. That being said, I've drank this brand quite a bit, and my guess is the average age in this is probably around 7 to 9 years old. Feel free to correct me, Goslings, but since you guys never respond to me when I reach out to you, even from the bar, I suspect you're not gonna correct me on this one. Anyhow, let's go ahead and taste Gosling's Family Reserve Old Rum. It's worth pointing out that this bottle is pretty fucking dope. Oh, so you see, it's not actually black rum, it's more of like a dark brown, reddish orange. Oh, even better in the light. So this is almost like a crimson, almost like a blood, a light blood. Yeah, so again, black rum. This is black rum, sort of. Not really, though. The packaging is awesome. They dip it in the wax. The box that it comes in is pretty fucking cool. They really put some effort into the labeling and the branding of this. It's really cool. It got a stamp of wax on the front. I give kudos to the way that they laid it out. So again, brownish, reddish, orangish. Obviously not black. Again, what does color mean in rum? Deep caramels, woody. Smells like what you would think of as rum. If you were to just wrap a blindfold around your head and say, what does rum smell like? This certainly has that essence. Maybe a bit of caramelized peach. There's some fruit kind of in the background, but mainly it's deep, dark sugar, caramel, burnt sugar, molasses. More fruit on the palate. There's tannin, there's like a bit of bitterness and woodiness there that kind of lingers through. It's dry, which is interesting because black rums, at least the ones that I've sampled, typically I wouldn't describe them as dry. There's usually more sugar in the background of it. This one has kind of a bitter, tannic quality to it. There's sweetness up front though. The finish, it's very simple. There's no evolution. It's not bad though. It certainly is adequate. I think I would enjoy this more if it didn't have that undertone of dry, bitter wood. It does kind of taste like you had a cup made of wood and you poured Gosling's Black Seal, which is their entry level baseline black rum, into that wooden cup and let it sit for a few hours. That being said, Gosling Black Seal, so their entry level, I'll put a picture of it to the left of my head, is really versatile in cocktails. I've used it in a lot of different drinks to great success. When I look at this particular brand and I look at the price of it, which depending on where you're at, I would say it averages around $80 for a bottle. And Gosling's Black Seal, probably a quarter of that. It's not worth it. It simply is not worth the markup, even though the bottling and presentation is really fucking cool, and it definitely is better than the Gosling's Black Seal, at least drinking it neat. This is cocktail rum. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm immune to branding and marketing, because it does influence me. But the more I drink, the deeper into alcoholism I dive, the more I realize that a lot of this is fluff. And this is one of those examples. Now, that's not always the case, of course, but this particular brand is not worth the price. This should be a $35 to $40 bottle. If it was priced in that range, I would give you a big thumbs up, but it's not. It's around $80. If I were to give this a score from 0 to 10, I'd probably give it a 6, and that's based on price. If the price was modified, this could be a pretty dope rum, but it's not. Yeah, so thanks for joining me. I hope I didn't turn anyone off with my cynical ways. I think I'm just getting a bit, why am I being nice to these fucking brands that really don't give a shit? I should probably edit that out.